For 75 years, Hilldale Baptist Church has been a beacon of light in Clarksville, Tennessee. We exist for the glory of God to make, mature, and multiply disciples. Our vision is to be a dynamic, healthy church where lives connect with Christ, with other Christians, and with our culture. In 1947, the Hilldale community looked very different than it does today. Lots of farmland, a few houses, and more being built. The nearest churches were First Baptist downtown and Little Hope, now Living Hope, on the way out to Adams. Knowing that Hilldale was going to be a growing community, Cumberland Baptist Associational missionary, Brother Noel Smith, and a local Baptist pastor, Brother C.G. Seago, put up a tent on a vacant lot and hosted an old-fashioned tent revival. Brother Smith did the preaching and Brother Seago led the singing. That tent revival was held where the Publix on Madison Street is now located. It went so well that some ladies decided to follow up with a vacation Bible school in the same area. Several weeks later, Brother Seago began to approach a number of people with the idea of planting a church in the Hilldale area. And on October 5th, 1947, on a cool Sunday afternoon, a group of interested people met under a tent on Golf Club Lane. And 17 of them stepped forward expressing their desire to become charter members of a new church called Calvary Baptist Church, what would become Hilldale Baptist Church. Our beginnings were humble, meeting in a tent at first, but eventually we moved to a location on the corner of Old Ashland City Road and Golf Club Lane. Evelyn Bryant Terrell, one of our founding members, who passed away in 2018, wrote through the years a history of our church. She wrote of Brother Seago being a true man of prayer who led his people to depend on faith. And God kept blessing this small but growing people. She said, "We had very little money, but much faith and manpower." We are still very much a church of praying people who depend on God, and God has continued to bless us. In 1966, Hilldale Baptist Church was devastated by a fire. But that didn't stop us because the church is not a building. After the fire, we moved locations to where our present-day Madison Street campus is located and broke ground on a new facility in 1967. The preschool children's area we now have at Madison Street used to be the sanctuary and then office space. In 1986, we built the current Madison Street campus worship center under the leadership of our now pastor emeritus, Brother Verlin Moore. In 2007, we broke ground on the farm, our Farmers Road property, where the Family Life Center is located. And with that, Hilldale became two campuses, but always one church. It has long been our plan to relocate our whole church campus to the Farmers Road property. Building the Family Life Center was one incremental step in that direction, allowing us to go ahead and impact lives for God's kingdom there and here. Remember, Hilldale exists for the glory of God, to make, mature, and multiply disciples. And our vision is to be a dynamic, healthy church where lives connect with Christ, with other Christians, and with our culture. And God is working through our church to do all of those. We've hosted vacation Bible schools and theatrical productions for many years. Since 1977, Hilldale has had some sort of sports ministry before starting Hilldale Hoops and Cheer in 2007. The deaf community is one of the most unreached people groups in the world, and Hilldale has had some form of deaf ministry since the 1970s, some years and seasons more than others. But in 2012, we launched New Life Deaf Church, one of only 5 SBC deaf churches in our state. I could go on about what God has done through His people over the past 75 years. In fact, I think I'll go a minute more. The Christmas Store assists hundreds of families during Christmas. The House of Hope literally feeds hundreds of families throughout the year. Fuel helps to feed over 250 children in our school system each weekend. Celebrate Recovery is helping so many conquer hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Life groups and ministry leaders pour into our children, students, and adults each week. We send mission teams all over the world, as well as close to home. And our church is literally one of the most generous churches in the state when it comes to tithes and offerings. We're reflecting over all that God has done through Hilldale over the past 75 years. But God's not done with us yet. As we look to the next 75 years and beyond, you might be wondering, what's next for Hilldale? I can't wait to find out, and I'm looking forward to talking more about that next week.